this is how I win. After having to suffer through the Zeb Wells run against my will, because I haven't been buying a single issue of that run. People just keep sending me fucking images of it, to finally have what I've been asking for. A version of Peter Parker that grew the fuck up and is now dealing with new issues, new problems that he will have to overcome. God, I'm excited! I am buying every fucking issue of this when this comes out, because fuck 616. I have always preferred Elseworlds because of their utter lack of restraint. They're not held back by status quo or trying to look like the movies. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Just looking at this cover makes me happy. 616 doesn't make me happy. That shit makes me depressed and mad. I might genuinely cry. This shit is beautiful. But what do you guys think? So, I finally got my hands on the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, a comic that I have been very excited for ever since it got announced. And I gotta say, after reading this first issue, I am very hyped to see where it goes next. It was absolutely amazing to finally get to see Peter be a father and a husband. I'm very excited to see what they do with the Parker family dynamic. We also get some fresh new takes on other characters that I won't spoil here, but it definitely helps to make this Spider-Man feel very unique. Now, if you're hesitant into getting this book because you haven't read any of the other Ultimate Spider-Man comics or any of the recent Ultimate events, don't worry about any of that. This book shares no continuity with the previous Ultimate Spider-Man. And as for the Ultimate events, all the relevant information is conveyed to us in the first page. And I gotta say, I absolutely love this take on Peter's origin. Minor spoilers, but in this universe, instead of the spider bite being an accident and Peter's choice to become a hero out of guilt, Peter becoming Spider-Man is entirely voluntary. The spider is given to him, and after some contemplation, he lets it bite him. Instead of the responsibility being thrusted upon him, Peter chooses it. And that twist has me so interested in seeing what they do with this universe's Peter Parker, and where he develops. So yeah, all around, this is a really great start, and I cannot wait to read the next issue. But what do you guys think? So I read issue 2 of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I am absolutely loving it. This issue gives us a lot of the Parker family. I gotta say, I love their dynamic, especially between Peter and his daughter. I'm hoping next issue we get some interactions between Peter and his son. Also, Peter's quips are on point. That man is actually funny in this comic. This whole issue is basically just about Peter trying to figure out who he's supposed to be. Tony gave him all the ingredients but did not tell him what to cook. So Peter, on his own, has to figure out how to be Spider-Man and what that means. Also, spoilers if you did not read the last issue, but Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson is a friendship I did not know I needed. I hope Peter joins them once their new paper starts up, whatever it's going to be called. I also like that Jameson has no interest in Spider-Man and just sees him as a distraction. The only thing I didn't really like about this issue is that Peter lost to Shocker twice. Not only lost twice, but lost in the same way. Yeah, I love how this issue ends, and I look forward to Peter getting his classic duds the next issue. But what do you guys think? So, I just read issue 4 of Ultimate Spider-Man. Let's talk about it. This issue takes a break from the action, focuses on a double date between Peter and MJ, and Harry and his wife, Gwen Stacy. Meanwhile, one of my new favorite duos in comics, Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson, watch the kids. Now, even though neither Peter or Harry suit up in this issue, I still found it very engaging. I absolutely love learning more about these characters. We finally get to learn what Mary Jane's business is, and apparently it's in marketing. And she's helping out Ben and Jameson with their new paper, which we have finally got a name for, and it's called The Paper. Which is kinda lame. I don't know, that's my one issue with this series so far, is I don't like the name of The Paper. It feels like they couldn't figure out what to call it, so they just went, fuck it, call it The Paper, and that's it. But despite that, I'm still looking forward to seeing it flourish. Also, I might need to reread this issue again, but I think Gwen runs Oscorp, which is just fucking hilarious. Also, speaking of the Osborns, I was not expecting Harry to give Peter "with great power comes great responsibility," which is absolutely just insane to me. I'm very interested in seeing what kind of meaning that phrase takes on after Harry goes bad and Peter has to stop him. Also, can I just say, I love Peter and MJ being a happy couple for once. Why would I need a hero when I have you is such a beautiful line of dialogue. And the fact that apparently while on patrol with Harry, Peter won't stop talking about MJ. Jonathan Hickman really out here answering all of our prayers with this book. So yeah, I really enjoyed this issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. Check it out if you haven't, and I cannot wait for the next issue. But What do you guys think? So, the 5th issue of Ultimate Spider-Man just released, let's talk about it. This issue focuses heavily on the origins of this universe's Green Goblin, aka Harry Osborn. In fact, Peter only really appears in 2 pages of this issue. In this issue, we learn more about Harry's relationship with his father, where he got all of his equipment from, and his current motivations. I really like how Jonathan Hickman writes Norman Osborn here. The man's definitely abusive and manipulative, but in a way that feels like he thinks he's building his son up. And it has me kind of hoping that Norman isn't actually dead, because I do want to see more from this Norman Osborn. Also, it turns out Harry's suit is Stark Tech, and he is tracking down the other people that Tony gave gifts to. I think this might be how Harry ends up creating his Sinister Six, by tracking down these people that were sent things by Tony Stark. Also, the ending of this issue does show that Harry has a bit of an edge to him, which will no doubt serve to create some conflict between him and Peter, because I highly doubt this universe's Peter is okay with torture. So yeah, this issue is decent. I really enjoyed learning more about this world's Harry, but I'm hoping next issue we check back in with Peter's story, and we get to see more of him being Spider-Man. But those are just my thoughts. What did you guys think? Living in Vegas during this time of year is an actual fucking nightmare. Anyways, issue 6 of Ultimate Spider-Man just dropped. And this issue feels like the ending to the first act of this storyline. This comic has everything I've loved about the last few issues. Marco's art is absolutely astonishing in this issue. I love how he draws Spider-Man. Hickman's writing is really good this issue. I love the back and forth between Peter and Harry. The Parker family dynamic is great as always. The only thing missing from this issue was Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. And even though I've already said this before, this feels like the ending of Peter's origin story. Peter has figured out his powers, his methods, his costume, and thanks to Mary Jane, his name. I did see some people complaining online that there wasn't enough drama for when Peter told MJ. I feel like they're holding back on the drama and just playing it safe. And I feel like that isn't a bad thing. It feels like they're preparing us for something more tragic down the line. I feel like there is some foreshadowing in this issue to something terrible happening to the Parker family. One of the first things MJ asks Peter is whether or not him being Spider-Man is going to put the family at risk. The lineup for the Ultimate Sinister Six was recently released, one of their members being Kraven the Hunter. And it's possible Kraven could track Peter back home and discover his identity. And maybe he ends up attacking Peter while he's dropping one of the kids off at school. Maybe his son Richard? I'm really hoping in the second act of this story we get to focus on Peter and his relationship with his son. They have a small interaction near the end of this issue that does give me some hope that we'll get to see more of them interacting. But yeah, they're absolutely knocking it out of the park with Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm very excited to see where they go next. I'm very excited to see Peter fight more classic villains and these new fresh takes on classic Spidey characters. I'm very intrigued to see how Peter and Harry's relationship evolves. All around, very happy. But those are all my thoughts. What do you guys think? It honestly feels like every new issue of Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man becomes my new favorite issue. Issue 7 of Ultimate Spider-Man just came out, and the issue mostly follows Harry and Peter training. They learn a little bit more about their suits and develop their own personal AI companions. Peter's AI is based off of himself because he enjoys talking to himself, and Harry's AI is based off of his father. I'm calling it now. Both these AIs are going to go bad. Harry's AI is going to turn him into the Green Goblin, and Peter's AI is going to become the Venom. I really like Peter and Harry's dynamic and how Jonathan Hickman is developing them. Aside from maybe Spectacular Spider-Man, there aren't a lot of versions of Harry and Peter's relationship that I really found myself invested in. But I'm very invested in this one. Speaking of relationships, the best duo since Batman and Robin, J. Jonah Jameson and Uncle Ben make their return in this issue. They discover some new information that is now revealed to us, given to them by Robbie Robertson, who I'm calling it now is going to get killed by Wilson Fisk. You know, if I'm allowed to make just one more prediction, I think Uncle Ben is going to end up hating Spider-Man on the same level 616J Jonah Jameson does. Because this issue ends with a teaser for a team-up with Spider-Man and the Ultimates, who are seen as terrorists in this world since Tony Stark was framed for bombing half of New York, which resulted in the death of Aunt May. So Uncle Ben seeing Spider-Man team up with the guy who is believed to be responsible for the explosion in New York that killed his wife might piss him off a little bit and make him a little bit more bitter to this Spider-Man, which could create some pretty tasty drama between Peter and Uncle Ben. So yeah, those are all my thoughts after reading issue 7 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I highly recommend you go check it out if you haven't already. And if you have, tell me what you guys think. So, we got issue 8 of Ultimate Spider-Man, and honestly, it wasn't what I was expecting. The cover art for this issue and the ending of the previous issue led me to believe that this was going to be some grand team-up between Spider-Man and the Ultimates. It was not. Not to say that it's bad, but it does mostly focus on setup and foreshadowing for future storylines. And mostly focuses on the Parker family dynamic, while also giving us the best bromance in comics currently, Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. Tony is in this issue, but mostly to inform Peter that he's gonna need his help jumping the Maker in a few months. Tony also reveals that the Maker had a list of people that would pose to be a threat against his takeover, and the top of that list was Peter Parker. As for Harry, bro wasn't even on the fucking list. I'm just waiting for the moment where Harry turns bad and the Norman AI goes, "First we attack the heart." This issue also feeds into my theory that Peter's current suit is going to become Venom. The suit reveals that it's completely capable of being aware and conscious without Peter having to wear it, and it states very ominously that it's capable of other things too. But obviously the biggest part of this issue is Kingpin assembling his Sinister Six. The team is comprised of other people who rule over different sections of New York City. Mr. Negative runs Queens, Walter Hardy Black Cat runs the Bronx, Kraven has Staten Island, and Mysterio owns Brooklyn. But you may be asking yourself, those 4 motherfuckers plus Kingpin is only 5. Where's our 6th member? Well, that 6th member is the ruler of the underground, the Mole Man. Putting Mole Man on the Sinister Six is an inspired choice. I'm very excited to see how this works out. I can't wait to see Peter fight those guys next issue. But those are just my thoughts on Ultimate Spider-Man issue 8. What did you guys think? After that, I feel chewed up, spat out, and stepped on, but I still managed to read the latest issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, issue 9, which shows Peter and Harry's first encounter with a member of the Sinister Six, whip enthusiast Walter Hardy, also known as the Black Cat. It's a cool fight and plants plenty of seeds for the future conflict between Peter and Harry, as a little bit of tension rises between the two of them after Harry goes a little too far during the fight. Speaking of planting seeds, my theory that the Pinko suit's gonna go crazy and become Venom after the kids are put in danger by the Sinister Six is proving more and more likely with every issue. With Peter choosing to downgrade his suit into a bulletproof spandex material because Harry and Otto don't want to be tracked by Tony after their little encounter with him, Peter and his AI companion agree to leave the Pinko suit as a home security defense. So if one of the 6 finds out Peter's identity and goes to his house to, hurt his family, they're gonna get mauled to death by a venom mist made up of Pinko bots. If I had to guess which one it will be, it's either gonna be Mr. Negative or Kraven, leaning slightly more towards Kraven. So yeah, issue 9 was solid. The series has yet to disappoint me, and if you haven't read it already, please go check it out. But those are all my thoughts. What do you guys think? I'm tired. Anyways, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 10 just came out, or as I'm calling it, the Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson bromance issue. This issue is a testament to how good Jonathan Hickman's writing on this series is, because Peter only shows up once and the story is still captivating. This entire issue follows Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson investigating the connection between the Green Goblin, Oscorp, Stark and Stain, and Wilson Fisk. And we witness them discover the truth behind the world they live in, just as Peter and Harry have. But of course, the major appeal of this issue is the bromance, the banter, just the all-around love of these 2 best friends, Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. Honestly, Uncle Ben being such a huge part of this story has been such an unexpected but very welcome surprise. Which makes me all the more worried something bad is gonna happen to him. I have watched and read enough Daredevil to know that Wilson Fisk does not fuck around about people snitching on him. And the fact that, minor spoilers, they went to go talk to Wesley? They're cooked. I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about how Ultimate Spider-Man is very much a slow burn, but I just feel like that's building up to something greater with every issue. Whether or not that's the Sinister Six attacking the Parker family, Harry turning on Peter, or Peter's AI suit becoming Venom, I'm just very excited to see how everything comes together. But yeah, solid issue. Cannot wait for the next one. If you haven't been reading Ultimate Spider-Man, I highly recommend you start. It is absolutely sensational and far better than the current 616 run. But as always, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? So, I just read issue 11 of Ultimate Spider-Man. In this issue, Peter has his first encounter with Mr. Negative. I know Black Cat's on the cover, but it's Mr. Negative. And after which he has a very serious conversation with MJ about the potential danger he could be putting his family into by leading this life. Now, this is a decent issue. The art's great, the writing is snappy, and I really love the dialogue. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm getting slightly sick of the slow burn. We're almost through Peter's first year as the Ultimate Spider-Man, and nothing really big has happened yet. The Sinister Six is assembled, but outside of a few scuffles with Peter, they haven't done anything yet. An article was published exposing Kingpin, and aside from him being slightly annoyed, he doesn't really seem all that affected by it. And I really dislike how the cover of this issue and the fucking synopsis for it talks about how we're being introduced to Ultimate Universe Black Cat, but she's in one panel and has no dialogue. I still love the story, and I'm very excited to see what happens next with Harry and Peter's family and the Sinister Six and whatever Kraven's about to do. But I'm getting just a tad bit tired of waiting. Compare this story to, say, The Ultimates, which is an extremely fast-paced story. A new character is introduced every issue. Hell, last issue, they just fought the fucking Hulk! Now, I'm not expecting things to change by issue 12. That's the Christmas special. But I'm really hoping something big happens issue 13, which seems to be the Kraven the Hunter issue. I don't mean to sound too negative. It's just, I love this story, but the pacing is killing me. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? So, issue 12 of Ultimate Spider-Man just released. I crashed my bike trying to get it, and now my shoulder won't stop hurting. This 12th issue marks the end of Peter's first year as the Ultimate Spider-Man. And what a year it's been. It's been a real pleasure seeing Ultimate Spider-Man rise as one of the most sensational, spectacular, and amazing heroes the Ultimate Universe has to offer. Now, as for the issue itself, you remember what I said when I was reviewing issue 11? Not expecting things to change by issue 12. That's the Christmas special. But I was wrong. Now, most of this issue is dedicated to the Watson family drama, but the end of this issue has quite the twist. And clearly shows off that Ultimate Spider-Man Year 2 is gonna be fucking wild. We got so much more Venom set up this issue, as well as a follow-up to the mystery of last issue about where the hell is Harry. And that reveal is fucking wowzer. To put it simply, shit's getting real. But yeah, this issue was a solid closer to this year, and I'm very excited to see how next year begins with the Kraven the Hunter issue. But those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? And of course, Merry Christmas.